Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? And yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup runneth over. And surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever and ever. Amen. Assalamu alaikum. It's Thursday, the 19th of December, 2024. Welcome to Johnny's Bite. And let me quickly apologize for the late start of the program or the segment this morning. We had a few technical issues that we had to contend with. So deepest apologies to all our cherished viewers and listeners across the country, those who wake up to stream, etc. We apologize deeply for the late start. It's due to some technical challenges that we encountered. But today is the birthday of King Kwesi Dakwa, media colossus, brands and marketing experts, tourism and culture enthusiast. Today is his birthday. Happy birthday to you, King Kwesi Dakwa. We appreciate you and we celebrate you in all intents and purposes. May God give you long life and prosperity. From all of us here at Media General, happy birthday to you. And already my phone is beeping. Well, let's know that apologies for the late start, a bit of technical challenge here. But on the 28th of December, we will have what we call the 3FM All-White Party. It is the shutdown party, the official shutdown party for the year, and it's organized by 3FM 92.7, your urban lifestyle radio. You get a chance to see all the fine faces and the nice voices, and to hear the nice voices who have been on your radio all throughout the year. I'm talking about Giovanni Caleb, Asia Kwaku Sapon, you talk about Johnnie Hughes, talk about Helena Piampofo, everybody, Godwin Numbo, everybody who's been there. We're going to be at the La Palma Royal Beach Hotel. It's a shutdown party, and I entreat you to call 053-1100-927 or 053 2200-927. That's 053-1100-927 or 053-2200-927. It's an opportunity for you to party with your family and friends. It's also good for corporate organizations. You have a small company, medium-sized company. You have about 15, 20, 25, 30 staff. You're looking for a table of 10, a table of 20, 30, 40. We entreat you to have that party because, you see, we're putting together 4 strong artists. We're putting together Keche, and then there's Kidi, there's Stoneboy and Samini at one location. All the drinks, all the food, all the chewables and the danceables. Nice company. I mean, if you're a corporate organization, you're looking for where to wrap up the year, a full year of hard work, a full year of having gone through it all and still survived, right? It's an opportunity for you to step out. But then sometimes putting together the organization, it may cost you more if you have to go and get your own venue, get your own caterers, get your own DJs, get your own artists, etc. But we say 3FM, we want to put it together for you nicely. And that's why we entreat you to call 053-1100-927 and 053-2200-927. Towards the tail end of the conversation, we will have a small tribute for folklore legend Na Manoa, who passed sometime earlier this week. And I had a conversation with her. We'll share a bit of that conversation with you as we go. But I've been listening to our finance minister, who has been telling all of us that our economy is resilient. We'll come to that conversation. But first, let's take a look at this team oral that has been set up by the president-elect, John Dramani Mahama. He put together 5 individuals, and social media has been talking. Some say it's a tactical team, some say it's a SWAT team, some say it's, whatever. These 5 individuals who have been put together bring on a lot of expertise and experience. Individually on their own, they have all been able to prove to the public what they can do, giving the time and space to be able to operate. Individually on their own. And it's kind of unfortunate today we can't play you any of those videos and clips that we had put together. But individually on their own, because of a technical problem that I explained to you, it's unfortunate we can't play. Sorry about that. But individually on their own, Samuel Kujetwa Black, a member of parliament, young, vibrant, we will call him the interceptor general because he's always intercepting some document or the other. And then you have Daniel Domelevo, former Auditor General of the Republic. And then you have COP Nathan Kofi Boakye. If you're looking for the most dangerous criminals in Ghana's history, you can say that he's the man who arrested all of them, or most of them. Then you can talk about lawyer Martin Kpebu, private legal practitioner, who's been, very vocal, anti-corruption campaigner, champion, etc. And then Raymond Archer, a private businessman, but he's also an investigator, right? A journalist who was, arguably the only one who has won the African and International Award, a big one indeed. These are the 5 that have been put together. Now, there are questions that are being asked what the legal mandate of this committee or group of individuals will be. Will it be a situation where they will have to pursue people because of their personal issues with them? That's one. And at the risk of sounding maybe like a broken drum, some people have expressed sentiments about whether or not this will yield any result at all. And I'm reminded of the setting up of the Office of the Special Prosecutor and the euphoria that met it, or that came with it. The Office of the Special Prosecutor, first held by lawyer Martin Amidu, brilliant lawyer, fantastic lawyer, anti-corruption campaigner. And then now lawyer Kissie Jabin. Kissie Jabin had come out at some point to suggest that there was some form of, attack and, I'm paraphrasing because we can't play the videos, unfortunately. But there was some sort of attack or, if you like, encumbered situation on him from the space of the judiciary. And he was not so happy about it to the point where he had to call himself, liken himself to Ankwanuma the Lonely Bird. In spite of the resources and everything else, you would look at some of the investigations they have done, you look at some of the referrals they have made, you look at some of the arrests they have done, and you are expecting a certain kind of result. But he comes now to tell you that his lawyers who counsel him, all right, collectively with himself, have come to a certain realization. At that particular press conference, he went on to mention that, look, we will get to a point that if we don't take care, a murderer will one day go to the police, to the court, to seek an injunction. And I'm not sure many Ghanaians paid attention to some of the things that he had said. I stood there and told you, for example, that he's a member of the National Security Council. But if the National Security meets, does he join them? Is he allowed to join? So many things have happened. So you may have the top 5, and expectations are quite high because of things that have been said in the past. And indeed, it puts a lot of pressure on the 5 individuals. The question is, would they be able to achieve anything at all? Or would they not be able to achieve anything? It is the wish of Ghanaians that they are able to achieve a lot. They are able to retrieve the monies, they are able to retrieve the lands, the state property, etc. They are able to retrieve those things. It is the wish of many Ghanaians. There are those who have also said that, they will not achieve anything. And yesterday somebody said, the former Maslog boss, they should start with the former Maslog boss. Now that's a simple question. I said, but I thought that the competent court of jurisdiction had, sentenced or convicted the former Maslog boss, right? And had in an absentia. And actually a certain red alert had been put on her. And the Deputy Attorney General had told us, Chiaibo had told us that, she shuffles between the US and the UK, and that a tap has been put on her not to move between the 2 countries. So she now stays in the US, and the tap has been very soon, she'll be arrested and extradited into the country. I'm lost when people start making those comments that start with the former Maslog. The person has been convicted. You say start with the person. To do what? So, and it goes back to what I said yesterday. Let the conversations feed into each other, and let the focus first of all be Ghana. If 2-3 weeks ago you were hoping that everything will be okay, suddenly everything should not be okay, then there is a problem somewhere. You are free to ask questions. You are free to say, why is Okujeto the chairman of Oral? Why is Martin Kpebu on? Why is Kofi Boakye on? Why is Domelevo on? Why is Archer on? You can ask those questions. And you can even question whether or not they will have an interest in trying to recover some of the things. For example, trade fair. Would Raymond Archer have an interest in trade fair? Would Domelevo have an interest in anybody who has worked in the audit service or anybody at the presidency because of how it was handled out of office? You can ask that question. You can ask the question about people who have been trying to put, contempt and other issues on Okudzeto Ablakwa because of the parliamentary oversight work that he does. You can ask those questions. You can ask the question about Martin Kpebu and how he has not been so happy with the performance of the Akufo-Addo-led government because he campaigned for them, and now he literally calls the president Mampam, and he continuously praises Madam Cecilia Adapa for the Gamanche for asking for the source of the wealth of Madam Cecilia Adapa. You can ask those questions. You can say, oh, Kofi Boakye was the IGP that we never had. Would he also visit? You can ask those questions. But the opportunity has been provided. And as has been said by Okudzeto Ablakwa and by what Mr. Felix Kwakye signed, that they will be receiving your petitions and they'll be receiving information from whistleblowers and documents and all of those ones. So if they will be receiving those things from you and you have those things, bring them. I am of the firm view, and some people say, oh, at the risk of not trying to make this personal, if somebody suspects or the police suspects that you have done something wrong, they have the smallest hint, the police can always invite you for questioning, or they can pick you up and arrest you. If after investigation nothing has happened to you, or they find you to be clean, they can let you go. That is what the law says. You are innocent until proven guilty. But it doesn't shield you from investigations of any form of any sort as prescribed by law, as allowable by law. So the concerns that, oh, this will be used for witch hunting, etc. Once you get into that political space and limelight, I get reports from people every single day. Every single day of how some injustices have been done. 2 days ago, a certain policeman was telling me how he's been deranked from a certain rank to a certain rank. Things happen to people every single day. But once you are in the public eye, if you were if that person were a COP of police, a commissioned officer, a commissioner of police, if that person were up to that level, and then suddenly that person is deranked, I mean, the public will be talking about it. So you can only wish Oral well, but you will also have to ask them the questions, and you have to also keep an eye on them. They say they won't take salaries. That's fine. But we have been in this country where somebody told us that I won't take salaries, and in the end we saw and heard things. So I won't take salaries, one, commendable, but some people are even begging that take something small, we beg you, so that you don't come and tell us that you have not taken salary, so that we can also pin you when we find that things are not going right. And this is where you expect that people have been talking about lands that have been looted, monies that have been stolen, people who are making all forms of allegations now to go and present the evidence and the facts that you have to Team Oral. And as we speak now, Team Oral, I know, per what has been explained, that they are not going to be a counter to the Office of the Special Prosecutor, the police CID, or whatever it is. Because they do not have, unless there's a law that is specifically set up for them, for their sake. And would that be a duplicitous role of the Office of the Special Prosecutor, of IOCO, of any of those ones? Simple questions. Will the John Mahama administration, for example, set up a special court for Oral so that once you are taking your case is dealt with quickly, and then if you are found guilty, the consequences will hit you. If you are not found guilty, you are made to walk free. Will we have a special court to deal with issues flowing from the investigations and conclusions of Oral? Will Oral now have the benefit of a court being set up for them, so that things that flow from Oral will then now become expeditiously dealt with quickly? It's a conversation that we must have, because we are told that the wheels of justice grind slowly. So Oral could be, they could be investigating something for the next 4 years, and nobody will be held accountable, and the government will expire. If another government takes over, they can say, we are not interested in oral. And what becomes of it? So it's a question that must be asked. Will a John Mahama administration commit to setting up a special court for oral? Will a John Mahama administration admit or commit to setting up a court for oral? It's a conversation that must be had, and it must be had nicely so. And this morning I'm asking that simple question on behalf of all Ghanaians. A very, very simple question on behalf of all Ghanaians. Would there be conflict of interest? I don't know. But you see, there's something that I want to talk about, maybe to wrap up the edition for today. I heard the finance minister suggest that we're leaving behind a resilient economy, a robust economy. Call it, give it all the adjectives, but to suggest to us that our economy is back on track, it is good enough, we are mentioning figures. And then the question you ask yourself is, since we started ticking those boxes, what has become of our economy? We took our very own inflation rate past the 50% mark, 50.4, 54%. We took it 54% up there to the top. Our own inflation, we took it to the very top. We are now told that inflation has dropped. It's in the 20s, which is still quite high. If you consider the 19-year period before, prior, still quite high. But since the inflation dropped from 54 to 21, 22, 23-ish, how has it improved anything in your life and in your business and in your family and in your church if you're a pastor and in your school and in your bank account and in your investment life? How has it changed anything? So we may have ticked that inflation box. We may have ticked that surplus box. We may have ticked that GDP box. We may have ticked all those things. What is our debt stock? If you read the graphic story, it tells you that, oh, we had over 800 billion cedis in debt. Now we are about 761 billion cedis. Is that an economy that is resilient? And I told somebody yesterday that these things are being said in the dying days of the government, so that when power eventually may switch in 2028, these things will be used as campaign tools. Watch these figures. You will come back and quote me. And I can read the Ghanaian politician like the palm of my hand. The things that are injected into the narrative just to make it fit, you will be shocked. We're growing at 7.2%, right, in the third quarter. So the growth rate in 4.8 and then 7% and then 7.2%, and this is significantly higher than 3.4% average growth rate we inherited in 2016. But in 2016, were people really this boxed up? And I said, the economy is one of the things you don't politicize. It's one of the things you don't try to politicize. So even in this frame of abysmal performance, which government has been rejected by 1.6 million people, we still find a way to inject 2016 into it. After 8 years, we are still talking history. And then when you talk, we say COVID, Russia, Ukraine. If really the economy is robust and resilient, as it is, the question to ask is, if another global pandemic hits, if Russia and Ukraine really decides to fight again as fiercely as they were in the past, or if any other country that we benefit from decide to fight again, would this so-called resilient and robust economy be able to withstand anything at all? Was it not Kweku Hagan in Parliament who had told us how much we have borrowed and how we have postponed the repayment of the borrowing we have done? how many times we have gone to the Euro bond, and how many times we have shirked on that responsibility to pay back and postponed it. Some to begin in 2025 when the new government takes over. So in the dying days of this government, and these things were said in Parliament, these narratives are being injected into the conversation. You wait, first quarter in 2025, you'll go back to this conversation. You will say, I told you. Some of the falsehood that we forcefully inject into the narrative must be rejected by the people. And I'm happy that people say I'm opening their eyes, because hitherto people did not pay attention to some of these things. We pick public officials to serve us, not to be quoting figures that do not mean anything to us. In the past, we were told how our pockets were broadcasting to us. Today is the 19th. Ask people if they have been able to do their Christmas shopping. Today is the 19th. Next week is Christmas. Ask people if they have been able to even go and ask for the price of a chicken. Today is 19th. Next week is Christmas. Ask them if they have been able to go and buy a Christmas tree. Has the Ghana Airport Company bought their Christmas tree? Today is the 19th. Ask people if they have been able to go and buy drinks. Get ready for Christmas. Today is the 19th. When I was young, our parents would have bought us clothes or would have bought material to go and give to the tailor to start sewing for us so that it will be ready by Christmas. Ask yourself how many people have been able to do that. The quality of the economy is in the quality of the life of the people who are in the economy. The quality of the economy is in the life of the people who live within that economy. So you are leaving behind a robust economy, but the first question is, if another pandemic hits, would this economy survive? Would it run back into the woods? For us now to say we are out of the woods, we are turning the corner, we have not turned the corner. How many times will we be told that we have turned the corner? It's a question that you must ask. Question number 2 is, if somebody goes to borrow money, and hey, let me use a very typical example. Boys. Somebody goes to do laboro. He borrows a shirt. He borrows a jeans. He borrows Fubu 05. He borrows filler. All those things. Back in the day, I don't know if people still do that, but he borrows clothes from his friends to look expensive. All the blinks and everything else. He borrows shomi or spray, perfume. Then he borrows some money. He borrows somebody's car. He takes on people's things just to go out there and impress. People would assume that he's a rich and well-to-do and affluent individual. But he is only living on a borrowed life. If people take everything that they owe from him, you will see him for who he is, the pauper that he is. And that is our situation. We have borrowed from here to come and do this. We have stayed the payment. We have borrowed from here to come and do that. We have stayed the payment. So we are living on a borrowed life. If we start paying back and the people start demanding for what we have to service and pay them, we will see our real size in the scheme of things. What is the weight of our currency? Now we say that we are living behind a resilient economy, and people's bonds and other things have still not been paid. We gave people a haircut that they never asked for, that we promised them that will never happen. If I put my hand in your pocket and take your money and put it in my pocket and tell you I'm richer than you, I put my hand in your pocket. I take the money in your pocket, add it to the money in my pocket, and tell you that I'm richer than you. Am I indeed richer than you? If you have 70 cedis in your pocket, I have 70 cedis in my pocket, and I take your 70 cedis and put it in my pocket, and then tell you that I am 140 cedis richer than you, am I really richer than you? Am I really richer than you? So please tell our finance minister that there is political fiction and then there is economic reality. In between that, I want to suspect that what he did was his own economic soliloquy. He should come again, because the economy as we have it now is not resilient. Maybe he's living in a different country, because the people of Karaga that he served, I'm sure that if he puts these economic figures before them and tells them that the economy is resilient at this point, I'm sure they will do something very, very worse than just talking. Have a good morning. Please call me 055 924 2717 and 055 691 0154. Please call me and let's have a conversation right now. Thank you so much.